right. I found it here, Scott.
Oh, good. Awesome. Yeah. Glad you get to be there. So I'm going to steal the screen here. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday, February the 2nd. You realize that we are 1/12 through 2021 already. I don't know where January went, but holy man, was that a quick, whatever, 31 days and it was gone. So
I just did a mailing. We're just doing a mailing that says 8.34% of the year is already gone.
8.3. Okay. Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's true. I get it. Let's do a screen from everyone for a couple of seconds here, maybe. It's not going to work out as nice as I hoped, but that's not what I want. There we go. Anyway. So new month, new mindset, new focus, new intentions, some new results. That's the motto for February. So it's the Remax hustle. Keep it in mind. It's good. Anyway, I've customized a few of these for the office. I've shared that a couple of weeks ago. If you're interested in having one with your name on it and you know how to do it, great. If you don't, send it to me and I'll make you one. There are 3 or 4 of these layouts. If you'd like one for yourself, let me know. I've kind of figured it out. So anyway, that was available to you. So I thought I'd start out with a little fun here. So, I saw this online, of course, and I've never done a poll. So I thought, well, you know what, I should give it a shot. So I'm going to ask everybody to pick your quarantine house. And how you do that is, and we'll have a little bit of fun and see how it all works. So pick one, take a minute. If you should have the ability to look at the 6 options, and if you had the opportunity, which option would you pick? Because the quarantine is not quite over yet, but I'll share the results, I think. All right, got a few, 5 of you, 6, 7. Oh, yeah. There's a trending one here. Oh, that's interesting. All right. Well, I thought the poll would come out really clean in one direction, but got 4 more seconds here and I can turn it off. So anyway, thanks for everybody who made an effort. Just trying to figure out a few more things that we can kind of interact with. And should result. So there's the results, a clean winner. There's a bunch of you that thought, but it looks like the hot tub, Mountain View sector, and the wine cellar. That's the one. Yeah, kind of interesting. Huh? I mean, I thought it would have been a little more skewed to the to one specific one. And I'm thinking everybody loves a library and a garden and a coffee bar and a fluffy cat. Oh, come on, you guys. Come on. All right. Anyway. That's my little fun for it. I thought, I was attending another meeting and they started doing these polls, and I thought, I got to see if I can figure out how to do that. So there's my first attempt. I will give you some more as time goes on, but that was the goal for today. So, oops, this one. There we go. All right, let's talk about our stats here. So, oh yes, I screwed that up too. Well, I'm consistent. Anyway, so last week we had 60 active listings in the office, which is not an all-time low, but certainly close to it for 1st of February. And this week, which is still got the 26th date on it, which is not correct, obviously, it's February 2nd. We have 64 listings out there, 27 new ones in the last week. So the listing count is better. 64 is still a very, very small number for us guys. So anyway, it is a seller's market for sure. This came out last night. So I want to extract a few things from it, maybe give you some ideas of what's going on if you haven't already felt the challenge of either selling something without multiple offers, or in all fairness, representing a buyer and trying to figure out how to win. So it breaks down all of the Fraser Valley, but I just picked out one or two here. So this one here is the Surrey detached, and it breaks it down obviously by, as you can see, by neighborhood and by price range. But what I'm kind of interested in is their trend, all right? So if you kind of pick out a few of these, which I've never actually seen it, where the second one where it says homes are selling on average 1% above list price. And I thought, whoa, that's interesting. I don't recall ever seeing that. And you get the most active price band is 800 and 900 grand, 100% sales ratio. So anything listed in that band is, is all fairness, your sellers are moving on. And it gives you the best bet, which I think is interesting too, the 2 to 2.25 million. That's also something that that part of the market's obviously a little bit flatter than the rest. Not flat, just a little bit more. The other part I like is the graphs. And if you're, pardon me, have a client who is trying to visualize what's going on in the marketplace, when you look at that inventory graph, the middle one, you can just see it dropping like a stone. Since October, I guess the high was in August, but we're down to less than half of that number as of January. So, but then you see also, obviously, you see the sale price. Sale price from August is just over $1 million to roughly $200,000 increase. So, anyway, I picked one more out here, Cloverdale. Sorry, I picked up Cloverdale. Again. It gives you the kind of that interesting, summary, I guess, where the most active price band, and the average home is selling 3% above list price. Again, super unusual in my world. So the best bet is those houses, 125 to 150, and those sellers better homes and claims with 3 to 4 bedroom properties. Anyway, and then again, this trend, and this again is just Cloverdale. That red line, that inventory line is, holy man, down to 40 listings. That's in December, and now we're up to 55. So it's pretty much a wash. For every listing that's taken, there's a sold sign. So, and in December, there was more. So anyway, I just kind of thought I'd pass that on to you. Those of you who don't get that, I'm happy to share it with you on a one-off basis. Ultimately, you can create these graphs on our Fraser Valley website, but as usual, many of you have good intentions and don't do it. You can acquire that particular snap stats for a monthly fee, and they'll send it to you. They do share a copy with me for the office. So anyway, if you'd like some more information, again, let me know, and I'm happy to share it with you. So on the weekend, I was reading a bunch of stuff that some people that I follow. And one of the sites I follow is a CEO network. And I just had an aha moment when I read this article. So the CEO network, it's a group of Canadian CEOs. There's 122 or something in the group, and what they do is they meet once a month, and then they just share a little bit about the consensus of what they talked about. So in this month, in December, was there a meeting, or no, January is the meeting, sorry. They shared their vision of a strategic plan. And they came up with three possible scenarios that they all have a plan for. And me personally, I sat back and went, I wasn't anticipating that people would be that, that well thought out, I guess. So the first one they came up with was what happens with the economy, obviously, is what they're trying to do. And their first vision is that in the next in this end of this calendar year, that the vaccines will work, and there'll be no more new strains. The curve will be flattened, and life will go back to normal by September. Extracurricular activities for kids with good lessons, and the COVID, go on. So that one kind of thinks. I think that's what the majority of people nowadays with the vaccine coming out. I think that's what they feel. what I didn't think was, is, there are obviously many other alternatives. So the number two one that they all have a plan for was, which we've seen lately, is the new strains that are coming out and the potential for more new strains. Obviously, considering that the vaccine may not be as effective for them, not flattening the curve. The last part of that line, which I again gave me that aha moment, was when they had a plan that or had a vision that if it lasted for 5 more years, that's a I don't know. Again, I just took that as an aha moment that what we have or what's going on could last that long. So, and then the last one I saw, which was this one that they came up with, was quite pessimistic, obviously, but it's also something that the people that are running these corporations in Canada they're thinking about, and maybe you need to a little bit as well. The deadly strains, more deadly strains come out, the lockdown becomes the new normal. Life moves largely online. Again, it's just a vision. So I thought it was worth sharing, just that there are powers to be in the economy that they are planning for these options. And I hope that nothing but the first one happens. But it's very interesting that there's a lot of people in our world that they're anticipating other things than just this all coming to an end quietly. Anyway. CIBC is my next little bit, and not to take away from our mortgage broker friends that support our office, which I all very much appreciate. But RE/MAX has created an alliance with CIBC. We loved Ron and TD, but that relationship with TD, not with Ron, ended at the end of last fall actually. So CIBC is out there trying to give you reasons to maybe consider dealing with them. And one of the nice things they did come up with in this one is they're calling it, you spend all day thinking about it. So that didn't turn out very clear. Anyway, what they are offering is any one of you, a licensed realtor with RE/MAX, they are offering you a reduced rate on your personal mortgage. So they are talking about, it's not a lot, but it's something. I asked them about what the 5-year rate for a mortgage for you would be, and the number they gave me was 140. That is only for you personally. That you cannot, you can't refer to your clients, even your kids. You have to be on title, and you have to be a part of the mortgage guarantee. But those of you who are considering a new mortgage or some refinancing, the 140 number is conventional, by the way. It's pretty interesting. So give them kudos for trying to figure out how to bring you into their fold. And again, it's not offered to your own clients, but it is a way for them to get you talking to them, I guess. The other thing that they're offering to us, which is tomorrow, is they put together a session with Richard Robbins. It is at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Richard's always really good. Got some good ideas, obviously, on how to deal with your business and keep you online. It is a virtual presentation, so it is part of the game. So I will email. There's the link, as you can see on the right-hand side, but I will email the link out to you as well today. So anyway, sure, whoever you like. It's open to any RE/MAX people, and realistically, I can share it to anybody. I don't really know how they could stop it. So anyway, that's another piece. They're a little give back that CIBC is making some efforts to again drive that into their fold. So some real estate news, or real estate industry profession news. This is a nice, interesting piece. So the Real Estate Council has decided they're raising your fees. I know that sounds so inviting. So April 1st, your license renewal will go up $200. You can thank all that history and those, whatever you call it, shadow flippers that they've made our regulatory board so big and so cumbersome that they need more money so they can go after you. So anyway, $200. So anybody who renews after April 1st, it's going going to cost you $200 more to stay in the business for every 2 years. This is another one that came out, and it should not affect any of you, but those of you who fail to attach a title search to your listings, you get a 3-day window, and after that, you're going to be born to a beautiful fine of $50, and an additional $50 for every 7 days after that. Again, I'm just trying to remind you that the title search is part of the listing requirement. Linda does a great job reminding people. We do have a few people that promise and, in all fairness, take a while to do it, to comply. Now it's going to cost you money. So keep that one in mind. As of May 1st, you got a few months to get used to that, but May 1st is the date. Next Friday is the third session of Mastermind that I'm putting together. So that's February the 12th. Adam will be there. Mr. Cantos is the CEO from RE/MAX International and also RE/MAX Europe, I think. Actually, anyway, there's an association there. So he's a well-versed, educated guy in our profession. Said he's got some interesting stuff to share with us, some ideas on how people are dealing with the different marketplaces around the world. Worth the effort. He's a good speaker. He certainly comes with a lot of knowledge and experience of the marketplaces. So anyway, February the 12th will be that at 11 o'clock. Look forward to seeing you. Mr. Steve, look, I still love this character, buddy. And it just works for you. Anyway, I'll give you the crew. Mr. Steve, hopefully you're still here somewhere.
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks.
Oh, there you go. Morning, my friend. Nice to see you.
Good morning. So before I get into it, first of all, I just want to say that you might have noticed my name on the door down in your offices. We just got the wiring done, so we'll see a lot more of you downstairs. We're happy to be there. We've got a new Artisan student that joined us who's going to be doing real estate law as well. So yeah, we'll see lots more of you down there. We're happy to be there. But for the topic today, Scott and I were talking yesterday, and somebody had brought up with Scott Bear Trust, and so we thought that would be a good topic for today. And a timely topic because from the legal end of things, bear trusts have changed significantly since December. That's when the Land Transparency Registry came into force and effect. So I'm assuming you all know what bear trusts are and how they're used as a document with some other person, and that other person, so person A buys property, signs a document with person B, and the document says that person B really owns the property, but they've split the legal and beneficial interest, which is something you can do. The legal and beneficial interest are two different things. So the person with the beneficial interest appears nowhere in the government records. BC was unique in Canada. In Ontario, you can do this for a very long time for obvious reasons. Money laundering and it creates a bit of havoc in the legal world. Because if you're suing somebody, you say, do they have any assets that we can go after if we get an order against them? Yes, they have a house, great. You get an order, and then they say, oh, absolutely. Actually, I don't own this property. Person B owns the property, so you can't have the property. So it creates all sorts of confusion when you don't know who actually owns the property. So now with the Land Transparency Registry, you can still do a bear trust, but it doesn't have the same effect because now you have to register that in the Land Transparency Registry, basically removing any of the benefits that you would have gotten for it. Now, I think there are still tax benefits of it. An accountant would be better to talk on those benefits that you would get from doing a bear trust with the new registry system. But the other benefits, sheltering assets and other activities, you can't get that benefit from it anymore. So that's now. That's December 1st going forward. One thing you should be thinking about and maybe talking about with your clients, if you know that they bought in a bear trust situation, you might not even know, but if you do know that they did, they actually have to report it within a year. So there's like a year where people, they've brought in the Land Transparency Registry, everything going forward is going to be documented, but everything going backwards, they're relying on people to know somehow that it exists and to start registering their Bear Trust agreements or other documents with the Land Transparency Registry. So that's something to keep in mind, that there is an obligation for former clients to do it. And you're going to get, I've had some people surprised, and you're going to get some surprised clients if they show up to the lawyer's office and they have to start disclosing this information, but they didn't think they had to. You might have some surprise clients. I think that you might have some obligations, and Scott, you know better than I do. With the Land Transparency Registry.
They haven't made it. They've been talking about, of course, creating a form for us to use, and that hasn't happened yet. I think, unfortunately, they have so many other things on their plate. BCREA, they haven't got that far. But initially, they talked about us being, forcing us to ask the question, right? And it hasn't gone anywhere yet, but it will.
Yeah. But in the meantime, I mean, you don't want your client to be surprised when they're at our office and they thought they could shelter this asset, and all of a sudden they're told, no, sorry, whoever the actual owner is going to have to go into this registry, whether they like it or not. So yeah, that's what's I guess the current status on Bear Trust, and how they're trying to catch up the historic Bear Trust to how we're going forward. So if anybody has any questions on that, happy to let you know what we're doing and what's required of us in the lawyer's office.
Yeah, from my own point of view, a Bear Trust still offers some financial advancement as far as CRA goes. I have Bear Trust and some property I own, and there's a reason to do it still for that reason. Okay, for to save the money you're sending to CRA. So. Anyway.
And in those cases, you'd be reporting to the government anyway, right? So that you have to. But in any event, they're really trying. It's an anti-money laundering thing that they're going after. But for tax purposes, certainly it still has a role. And that other thing, Scott, you mentioned was the escalation clause.
Yeah, I talked about it last week, and I've just had one instance where we've had offers that had an escalation clause in them, where basically it says I'll pay you $5,000 more than the best offer. I don't know, from a legal point of view, I'm just, I don't know, does it fly? Does it not? I would never use it. I would never allow it. I've told everybody I think you should take it out. In the same breath, I just thought a legal vision of it would be maybe something that maybe you can share with us.
So when it comes to property, real estate, there's a couple of laws that don't apply to other things. And one, it has to be in writing. Two, it has to be for a price. So the price has to be dictated, like it has to be written out. It can't be conditional on something else. So while I don't think it would be a valid offer if it went to court, it does. If you receive one of those offers, I think they're just trying to communicate to you, if you have a good offer, we're willing to match it and then some. So it might be. So you learn about like an offer to treat. There's a distinction there. So I think this is an offer to treat rather than an actual offer. But I wouldn't put it in and expect that it would be enforceable and your client could sue if it wasn't accepted. These types of things. But maybe it's just to put them on notice that your client's serious about the property. But as Scott said, you're going to run into trouble if you're trying to enforce it.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, I've just seen it once, but I thought realistically, if we see it once, somebody else is going to use it. It's going to come up. Hey, Ron, I see you have your hand up. You have a question, something, a comment you'd like to make? Uh-oh, maybe we lost him.
Nope. Ron, you're on mute.
All right, well, that's fine. He'll come back. We must have lost him because we had his picture and he disappeared. The other question I wanted to have for you quickly, Mr. Steve, there is there are many offers coming or being dealt with in a backup position, and sometimes the backup offer has a clause in it that states that the seller cannot alter the first contract in various wording, all kinds of things. From a seller's point of view, how do you feel about that? I guess how does that clause in a backup? It would not be in the original contract; it would be in the backup contract.
So I can tell you what I can tell you the effect of these clauses based on how many calls I get about these clauses, and I get a lot of calls on those clauses, and they create all sorts of problems. If you're representing the seller, and I get a lot of call from angry sellers. because they say, well, I didn't understand that. Now I've got to change the dates by 2 days, and I didn't understand that I couldn't change it, and blah, blah, blah. So you've got to be, it's enforceable. You've got to be careful about accepting that, and you have to very clearly explain to the seller, you're not going to be able to change anything. You're not going to be able to change a completion date. You're not going to be able to change this. You're not going to be able to change that. So it takes away all of your flexibility. So I would avoid having, if you're representing the seller, I would avoid having it in there at all, because what often happens is the seller needs an extra day to get their moving truck there or whatever. Something happens, right? That's out of their control, and now they're panicked. They're afraid they're going to get sued, or something that's within their control. They just want to change, and they're upset that they can't. So I see that arise often, and it becomes a problem. So, or sometimes this is often out of their control. The buyer, the original buyer doesn't know that there's a backup offer, and doesn't know that you can't change the dates, and they need an extra day to get their financing in place, or an extra day to do something, and you just can't do it. So it does create a lot of issues, and if you're representing the seller, I would certainly avoid it if possible.
But it is enforceable though, right? Because I'm just trying to figure out how a backup offer, for whatever reason, could be privy to whatever you change. Like you said, let's say you change a date. How does that link happen?
So this is the enforceability of it is difficult, because I get calls on it as well. And I get calls from people who have the backup offer and says, my backup offer said they couldn't change. I think they're changing it. How do I sue them? So how you would sue them is you'd have to wait until it completes. You'd have to see that the date that it actually was registered in the land titles office was something different. You'd have to guess that meant that something changed in the contract, sue them, and get that information on discovery. It's a big investment with very little information. Not something I've seen anybody pursue. I haven't seen any of these go to court yet. What I have seen it do is create a lot of stress for people in the few days around completion. That's where I'm seeing it for all people involved. So that's where I see it, the pinch. But would it be enforceable? Hard to say. I haven't seen these go to court yet. There's no case law on it yet. I think it would be enforceable, but people don't really want to invest in this new law.
Yeah, I don't see that to be an easy one, right?
Scotty, let me comment on that.
Yes, please.
Yeah, they're real simple, you guys. You don't allow it in your contract as a listing agent ever, because you're giving up control. You're giving up control, and you're putting your seller in a position that you don't want to put your seller in. So don't you dare ever let that as a listing agent into the situation with the backup offer. And remember, we take backup offers for a reason, to put pressure on the original offer to get things done. So we communicate the fact that we have a backup offer to our clients, to our people. We use that backup offer for our benefit. You don't want to take control away from your vendor with that backup offer, and allowing that backup offer to control the decision making of your vendor. Don't allow it. Real simple. Then there's no problem. There's no tension. There's no situations that you can't, as a listing agent, control and take care of, to let your vendor make the decision they need to make to get the decision, and to get the end result they want. Don't allow it. Real simple.
Yep,
So what's the wording of the clause that we're concerned with?
Well, that's in a backup concern, Kenny, that they put the tagline in there saying that the original offer cannot be altered in any way, shape, or changed in any way, shape, or form. Well, that's just the worst decision you could make for your vendor at that time with the backup offer. You as the listing agent and your vendor should have full control and decision-making power to allow that backup offer and that buyer, the backup position buyer, to not allow your vendor to make decisions, last-minute decisions in that situation. That's not a good position to be in at all.
So is the clause that they put in there subject to the collapse by February 3rd at midnight, and then as the sellers, you give an extension so it hasn't collapsed? Does that still protect your sellers with the option?
Of course, because remember that condition is for the sole benefit of the seller account. It's not for the sole benefit of the buyer. If the seller doesn't remove that condition, the backup offer goes by the wayside, ceases to be enforceable.
Yeah, without an amendment, you could
selling end, and you want to make sure on that date that if they make any changes, I mean, do they have full control that they can keep extending and extending the first offer? And so
Absolutely.
if you're in backup position, you know, they can keep changing things. So subject to
Absolutely
the
they can.
collapse, as long as it hasn't collapsed, that's still enforceable.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Steve, you agree with that?
Yeah, that's, I mean, the backup offer is there in case it does collapse, right? It's just taking the freedom, you know, minor changes, anything out, that's where we see the problems.
Yeah. So, but but having it just, you know, conditional on there in some way of the first offer walking away, and if the seller chooses to whatever to give these people an extension, not having that do not change clause, there's no repercussions. I mean, the deal either. Yeah. Okay. I didn't think so either. Oh, excellent. I don't know. Ron, are you there now?
Stevie, hold on, Scotty.
I am.
Stevie, I want you to talk. Sorry, Ronnie.
Okay.
Stevie, I want you to talk about that idea you had with me last week. We talked about.
Yeah.
Okay, share that with us.
So I had somebody contact me. They were getting fed up with people showing up, not showing up to their listing. So I'm sure some of you are having the same frustrations. You've got you've got a good property. You've got 60 people that want to see it. You only have time to show it to 30 people. Only 15 of those people show up, and you get 15 offers on it. And meanwhile, the 15 people that didn't show up, that's 15 spots that could have gone to somebody who was serious about it. You could have had 30 offers on the place. So I was asked, and I talked to Gary about it. Are you allowed to charge a no-show fee? And there's no reason you can't charge a no-show fee. So I thought it was kind of interesting. So I looked into it to make sure there wasn't anything, and chatted with Gary about it when I was on the phone with him to see if there's anything in the rules that would prohibit it. The enforceability becomes difficult. It has to obviously be payable to the brokerage, but it's something to consider. If somebody won't, if you have it in your, in your intake package, and somebody gets nervous about it or says, "Oh, well, I'm not," why is that in there? You can kind of rule them out that they're not too serious. So something to think about if you're getting frustrated.
You have a tough time, Stevie, getting credit card numbers from those buyer's agents.
Yeah, enforceability would be tough.
No, but it would be interesting to have as part of your listing package to have, or part of your included documents on your listings is no-show acknowledgement and make them sign it.
Yeah.
If you don't show up, and you still can't collect it, but or you might. I don't know. You'll have
The challenge on that one. Yeah, the challenge on that one, Scotty, is the excuses that are put forward when buyers agents don't bring their clients to the property.
You should charge the rent and then refund it.
Pardon me?
If you get a repeat offender, you can do the deposit up front, and then you would return the deposit if they didn't show up. So you could do it if you wanted to do it.
Good luck with that.
Ways.
Interesting idea. All right, Ron, now you have your chance, my friend. Thanks for waiting.
That's okay. It's a question for Steve. A situation a couple of weeks ago where parents parents gift kids some money to buy a place with. Bank agrees to allow the parents to put a second on the property behind the bank's first. And the notary decides that that's a beneficial owner and has to be disclosed rather than being in a trust agreement or anything else. What's your feeling on something like that?
So I can tell you that the Law Society and the Notary Society are getting much more aggressive about what we have to do. So there is pressure from the Law Society and the Notary Society to do that type of thing. And with very little direction. They say your discretion, but you should be considering these types of things. So there are some notaries and lawyers that are going to take a very aggressive stance on it and say if you're loaning any type of loan from a parent creates a beneficial interest. I think you can get around that with a gift document. If they say this is a gift, then you're okay. But if the notary says no, I'm not gonna register it unless you consent to this being a beneficial, unless we register in the land registry or the land transparency registry, then I mean you're kind of out of luck. But it seems like in that case, I wouldn't have taken that position, but I understand why a lawyer or notary would.
Yeah, I understand why the parent would want to register in case there's a marital breakup or anything like that. It protects the family money coming out of the deal at the end of the day. But,
and if it's a loan, I would say if you're giving them a loan and you're registering the loan, then your interest is protected and it's disclosed. So I wouldn't see that as an issue. But I can tell you that the Law Society, and I assume the Notary Society is the same way. They're getting much more aggressive about what we have to do to keep to make sure everybody knows who the owner is of every property.
So as we move forward, it's kind of, we should be advising our clients, all of us, realtors, brokers, whatever, that that's a possibility that your notary or lawyer might be looking for that.
Yeah. I think you might want to also mention to them that we have to start asking stuff about where their money's coming from. Is it salary? Are you commission? Is it coming from a family gift? So there's a few things that we are doing that's a lot more invasive than we've ever had to do before. So they might come back to you and say, why is the lawyer asking me this? Why is the notary asking me that? And you might be surprised because these are new rules that have come in just in the past year or so. So just a heads up, if they're asking you, it's legitimate. The Law Society and Notary Society are requiring us to do a lot more investigating and record keeping.
Oh, yeah. Great
Thanks,
answer.
Steve.
Great answer.
Quick
Because
question on the same topic, if I can
Sure.
jump in, Steve.
Yeah.
So let's say after the fact, someone came to you, home was already bought, son and daughter-in-law are already entitled, and now the parents want to put a second mortgage on the property and there's no money being exchanged. They just want to put a $50,000 second mortgage on the property. How many questions do you ask at that point? Assuming you did not register the first mortgage for the first lender, you were not privy to that initial transaction.
So you have to ask a few questions. You have to ask why is this going on? And we basically have to satisfy ourselves that there's nothing nefarious going on, that they're not doing it to strip that. Well, that would make you think maybe they're trying to strip equity out of that asset or these types of things, right? So if we know that they're doing it to avoid a court order, we would be in trouble because we'd be, as a member of the bar, we can't help somebody to avoid a court order right. Now, if somebody came to me before they were ever sued and they just as a best practice, they said, I'm in a high risk industry and I want to strip all of the equity out of my house so that if I ever do get sued, there's nothing there for them to get. That's strategic planning. You're allowed to do that. If there's a court order saying you owe this person $200,000, you say, I'm going to give my parents more than $200,000. That's something we can't do.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Carol?
So which is stronger, the side agreement or the charge? So
The charge.
protecting, like Ron's question, the parents are protecting the son from potentially having to split that initial injection of cash that came from his parents and maybe not the partner's parents. Is the side agreement as strong as the parents putting a charge after the fact?
So as between the parties, because usually when I see it, usually they're trying to protect against the other set of in-laws, right? That's usually the idea. So against the spouse whose parents aren't contributing or who isn't contributing the same amount, that side agreement is strong. Against other creditors who might go after the property, the side agreement doesn't do anything. So the charge on title is better for if somebody's not paying their credit card, say the spouse isn't paying their credit card, and debt collectors come after the house, then a charge helps. But between the parties, the side agreement.
Sometimes called an escalator that lets.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, Steve, man, we exercised you well this morning. It's all good. All good. Anybody else got any questions for our lovely in-house counsel, my friend? He's well versed this morning. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll move on. Let's do a little bit more looking and charting. So I'm just going to share one more thing that I came up with here, and that'll lead into our money friends there. So this came out yesterday, February the 1st, and it talked about the potential of the cost of borrowing to go up much sooner than expected. When you go through the article, this particular Bloomberg news piece warns Canadians, that it's going to come up maybe as soon as April. So that's interesting. I'm not sure who's doing our mortgage update, but whoever that is, tell me what you think on that little piece.
Well, unfortunately, it's could be relatively accurate. Rates started to move a couple of weeks ago already. So they've gone up about a 10th, 15th of a point on some of the stuff that was heavily discounted before, predominantly the 4 and 5 year terms. So that move's already been made. The reality is for the average mortgage, it makes a difference of about $22 a month. So, you know, is it life changing if you're not focused on the number? If you're focused on what's coming out of your wallet, it's not that life changing, but it will stir something in the economy to make that work. Yeah, we're due for some increases, but our economy is still not that strong to try to do that. And I can see some fluctuations coming up and down, which is standard for this time of year, as opposed to just a runaway type of interest rate increase that we've encountered before. There are some typical reactions with the changing government down in the States and what's happening in our economy. And the stock market fiasco last week didn't help things either, because now you've got everybody focusing on the market and what they're going to do and whether they're going to go into bonds or stocks and what they're going to flip and that. So there is a little bit of instability right now. So as we work our way through that, you can see some instability in the interest rate market as well.
Oh, thanks for your comments. And what kind of
That's my personal opinion. It's not the TD opinion. So
Okay.
The market's up 600 points today.
I don't disagree with that. So what is like what kind of what's your whatever? Give us a sense of what the rate is. What's the 5-year rate still floating around at?
well, the 5-year insured still hasn't changed. You're still looking at the 169 bracket for a 5-year insured thing. On a 5-year fixed, you're looking at say 181, maybe a little less. On a 4-year, you're looking at 172. And on variables, you're looking at the 1.54 mark in that bracket. So still ultra affordable. On any given day right now, there's about 800 applications hitting our mortgage centers nationally. We've hired 100 new underwriters that are bringing up to speed to try to deal with what's coming into spring market. So
Good.
trying to ramp it up so we don't end up with the long delays that we've been encountering, or trying to get rid of some of those long delays that every bank has been encountering lately. I know Bank of Montreal has had some funding issues lately. Most people are just getting you your approval right on subject removal date instead, which is, for me, it's just a little scary if you got 2 weeks to remove subjects and you're coming down to that final hour. Don't like being in that type of position, but we're a victim of that economy. And
what are subjects? There's no contracts with subjects anymore.
Sure, you do your inspection clause, don't you, Gary?
Mr. 90% of contracts I'm checking in-house now, Ronnie, have 0 subjects. Zero,
Yeah.
Ronnie.
Yeah. The difficulty is in our queues, if it doesn't have some sort of deadline date, it goes into a different queue. So anything with a subject date, if we can put a subject removal date on there of any kind, it'll go into a purchase queue. Otherwise, it's treated in the same queue as it's treated as a refinance, and it's first in, first out. And they try to be cognizant of where those dates are, but I'm getting grayer faster.
No, I appreciate your comments. Thanks for the share, Ron. I think just that little sense that the market is changing, the cost of money is going to mend, and really even a 2% mortgage is it's free money, guys. It's almost, but not quite. But they still got to give it back. But geez, pay 2% a year on your borrowed money. Oh, I don't know.
If you locked in 2 years ago at 2.69%, you're feeling like a doofus right now. But think about how good you felt at 2.69 for a 5-year term.
You're not looking right at me, are you?
Nope. I don't know what you got. So
269. That's the number.
I'm saying theoretically.
Yeah. Thanks for that one, Rob.
No, it's supposed to be 649, Scott. 649.
Oh, there you go.
Should have taken the variable, Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, I married someone that's very conservative, so that's not so easy, right?
Yeah. Sometimes you solve it with your wallet.
Variables, Carol.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, my friends. Thank you, Ron. I think you did a good job explaining us what's going on there. Gary, it's up to you, man. What do you want to talk about today?
Multiple offers.
Yeah, is there some of those? No way, really?
Every call I got last weekend, every call was concerning multiple or competing offers. Everyone.
Yeah.
Make sure you call me after the meeting, Gary.
Yes, Dan.
Oh, multiples.
Well, that's the market we're in, and you got to adjust. You got to adjust to market conditions and try to do the best you can for your buyers. Or if you're on the listing side, the same situation. But that being said, we had one also last week. Okay, so we've gone with the program of we hit the market Wednesday. We have no showings till Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we have a direction of offer from our vendors already signed in place, because we need that if we're going to delay and advertise, promote that we're not taking offers till Monday or Tuesday, whatever you choose. And then we get a bully offer. What do we do? Well, we can do that still, because again, remember, we're working under the direction of our vendors. We present bully offer to our vendor, and our vendor accepts it. What do we do now? Well, you better not let your vendor accept it without communicating the fact to all interested parties that have inquired on said listing, that haven't seen the property yet. You better communicate to them that you have an offer, and if they're willing or wanting to write, they get that opportunity too. So you got to keep track of whoever's contacted you. You got to keep track of all interested parties. Make sure you communicate back to them before you accept that offer, and give them the opportunity, if they so choose, to step to the table. If nobody does, fine, you can take that bully offer for your vendor, or work with your vendor on that bully offer, and then change your listing immediately. If you do in fact accept that offer, change your listing immediately to reflect accordingly, as far as your direction of offer and offer presentation for next Monday, Tuesday, whatever you want. So there's been that happening also. So be aware of those situations, and try to do, if you're on the listing side, try to do the right thing. And if you're representing a buyer, make sure you communicate immediately. If you have an interested buyer in a property, make sure you communicate immediately to the listing agent, and have that evidence to show that you wanted to see the property, or had a client that's interested in the property, so they can communicate back to you if in fact they do receive a bully offer.
It's a difficult position when your clients do want to accept an offer, and I think in our marketplace as a listing agent, you should come up with a very strong argument that they should wait, not just because of the offer being there, but ultimately, again, the stats showed that I was sharing with you earlier, that things are selling over less price, and even when you're priced right, they're selling over less price. So the market will set the new highs each and every time, pretty much. But in the same breath, I'm with Gary. If some point they decide that they want to deal with that offer, they have that right. It's you that has the problem as a realtor, because you have marketed with the with direction from them that says that you will not. So the client is on the right, and you are somebody that's going to be conceivably subject to business practice. It seems odd, but that is the way it is going to be. So when Gary's talking about giving notice to everybody, that's the out. That's your ability to skirt the business practice complaint. If you keep good track of who's inquired in the property, and ultimately ask and then communicate the best you can, and then obviously update the comments in the on.
Humor has a question, Scotty. I can see him. I can see him fiddling over there.
I'm gonna ask you, if you don't put it in the realtor comments that you're presenting offers 3 days from now.
Yep.
That would avoid all that, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Well, again, it comes down to direction of offer, Paul. What is our requirements on rules of cooperation? Our requirements on rules of cooperation state you have to present every offer that's forwarded to you. You have to present every offer that's forwarded to you. That's our rules. That's not a choice or an option. Okay. So when you alter that rule of cooperation with a form of direction of offers from your vendor has now decided, no, I'm not looking at any offers until next Monday, Tuesday, whatever. That supersedes your rules of cooperation.
Okay, so I have it signed. We're not looking at offers till Wednesday.
Yep.
And I keep it in my file. I don't publish it. So when the agent phones me and says, I have an offer I want to present tonight, then you can say, I have this signed. And we're not looking
at that time. Absolutely, you can. You bet.
That would cover you, right?
Yes.
You bet.
Yeah, when you get a direction of offer, it does not need to be shared unless it's asked for. So it's a it's a disclosure that's asked for. and you in fact may receive that bully offer, and you effectively want to tell your client about it before that direction of offer is made public, because that also will keep you on the right side of okay. Right?
Exactly.
Anyway, I think the direction of offer right now is everybody's looking for it. So if you're going to wait, or you're publishing its weight, you better have it in your file, have it in your back pocket. We do have one where the lady, not us, but a listing agent plainly got it signed after. And whatever, we didn't complain about it, but they had multiple offers and people lost. And the short answer is that one's, I know, has gone over to a business practice at the board. So anyway.
Yeah, well, that was, there's been a couple occasions now, Scotty, if you'll recall, that we've had agents saying, oh yeah, I got a direction offer from my clients. Okay, please. And we can ask for that, a copy of said direction of offer.
Yep.
We don't get the direction of offer back till the next day, and it's signed the next day, and the listing was active, and the MLS posting stated that they weren't taking offers till next week, but they had nothing signed. So be aware, when you post that on your listing and saying that you have direction of offer from your vendor, you better have a signed document, because if you don't, you're going to be held accountable.
Yep, they are. As everyone saw the last week, I'm sure you read all your emails from the board and the council, is they are increasing the fines. So the minimum fine now will be $1,000. That's where they're going to start. So, and you know that's not where they're going to finish. So the old number, I think it was 250 or something like that. Anyway, it's $1,000 now. So if you go there and anything you do wrong, it's a G note out of your pocket. So anyway, all right, Mr. Gary, you got anything else to add? Are you good?
No, I'm good.
You're good. All right. You know what? It was a very, very great meeting today, guys. I appreciate everybody who came out and shared. I think having Steve come out and give you that legal opinion, I think, geez, we benefit greatly from that relationship that we have for him. To repay that in every place, I hope that you'll do your best to have your clients refer to him in some way, shape, or form. Of course, not solely, but we'd like to support the man, because he certainly has done more than a good job supporting us. Anyway, anybody else? We've been out here for an hour, and that's usually my criteria, not to take more than an hour of your time. Any else? I got something to add? Yes, no, maybe, quietly. All right.
Groundhog Day, and there's 6 more weeks of winter.
Oh, is that what? Oh, yeah, it was Groundhog Day. But is it Canada? We don't use a groundhog, do we?
You didn't see a shadow.
Oh,
There she is. There she is. There's Con showing off the baby.
Anyway, so at this point, I'm gonna call this meeting to an end. I do have a $25 gift card for Save on Foods. And I would say, well, somebody give me a number. Let's, Mr. Herman, give me a number between 1 and 18. And we'll see if you pick your own, it's going to be a little bad, but I'm into it. 1 and 18.
9.
9. 4, 5, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, Sharon got the gift card for coming out this morning. It'll be in your mailbox later today. So, enjoy your whatever you're going to do, your milk, your eggs, or whatever you choose to use for it. Anyway, I want to thank you all for coming out. I appreciate the sharing. Sharing surely makes us all stronger. Please continue to make good decisions that keeps you healthy and wise in your life. And you know what? We're all realtors and people. Let's go do some deals. Right,
and I think every one of us should talk to somebody else in the office that hasn't attended these meetings, and let's just get more people here. Just to talk to one person.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I talked to several persons, Paul.
Yeah, well, no one listens to you.
I talked to Todd today.
Thank you, Paul.
All right, thanks, Scott.
Yeah,
I love you too,
you're in the
Paul.
office. A lot of people get them to come. Anyway, thanks guys for coming out, and we'll see you next week as well. And don't forget on the 12th, February the 12th, come and listen to Adam Cantos. He'll be very entertaining. Anyway, thanks for coming out, guys. Have a great day. Cheers.
Bye.
Good night. I sent you an email, Scott, with a link for a 20-minute talk from the House of Commons on our country's condition on financing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have a look at it.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, when I saw that other piece I shared about the three different strategies or three different, no, it was just, I don't know, it's not something I thought about, that people would be looking at the significance of, what might change in the business or what might change in the business world or even the economy. Anyway, yeah, I'll have a look.
Yeah,
Hey, Ken, sorry to interrupt. Ken, can you send me that link too?
Yeah, okay. This is one of the speakers talking about the 5 major things that'll happen for a recession or a depression dating back the last 100 years. And right now, Canada has ticked off all 5 boxes. So he's just saying, if history repeats itself, this is probably what's going to happen. He's not throwing any blame. He's just saying this is where we're at, and this is probably what's going to happen. So.
No, I think so too.
Anyways, it's a good watch. So I'll send it out to. I've already sent it, so I'll send it to. What's his name? Spence. That's right.
Skatsky at remax.net. Thanks, Ken. I'd like to watch that too.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, Ken. I think we've done a really good job. We've been very fortunate to be in a profession where we're largely unaffected by it as far as our ability to earn money. But man, there's a lot of people. I was out at my place in Ukilet on the weekend to do some renos, and you go through those small towns and you really see the devastation. Like I would say a third of the restaurants are gone for good, like boarded up, signs gone, everything. And that kind of really makes you go, whoa, that's this little town has really took a big hit. And then the ones that are open, they're sparsely open. Like they're playing the game really well as far as distancing and COVIDing and taking care of the people that are there. But wow, they're not doing hardly anything. Coffee shops, they don't let anybody in. Restaurants are only takeout.
Yeah, he talks more about the whole country's debt, how it affects people, and also our gross debt ratios at 101%. And he says the last couple recessions, they got as high as 67, 68%. So he says, we just can't sustain it. And, we've given out trillions of dollars and we're this much in debt. And, it also affects people mentally and the suicide rates. And he's just saying, so if history repeats itself, the interest rates will have to increase and we will have to deal with it.
Yep, I agree. It's a matter of time because the government gravy train, it just can't go on forever. So, I appreciate they're trying to keep everybody healthy and moving forward, but the free gifts will not be in perpetuity. It's not going to happen. So.
Well, the reality is we're so comfortable with what we're doing and so accustomed to what we're doing that we just never see the bullet coming. It's like a war. You just never see it coming.
Yeah, so. I agree with that. Anyway, guys, thanks for coming. Have a great day, and and I'll post that link, by the way, Spence, as well on the minutes today. So, anyway, have a great day.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. Are you at the office, Keith or Scott? Are you at Guildford? Are you at Guildford?
Yes.
Okay, I'll be up there in a bit.
Yep. All right, guys. Take care. See you later.